Tailwind CSS is a utility-first CSS framework which is now becoming the first choice for maximum developers because it is highly customizable. It is a low-level CSS framework. It gives you all the facility to build a web page directly from their predefined classes so that you don't have to write any custom CSS at all. So let's see some of the features of Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS helps you building complex designs with their constrained set of primitive utilities. With Tailwind, you can style elements by applying pre-existing classes directly into your HTML. This approach allows us to implement a completely custom component design without writing a single line of custom CSS. Tailwind helps you to work within the constraints of a system instead of littering your style sheet with arbitrary values. They make it easy to be consistent with color choices, shadows, spacing, almost everything you need to make a well-organized design system. Tailwind is a tiny CSS framework. In the production build time, it removes all the unwanted CSS, which means your final CSS bundle will be as smallest as possible. Most Tailwind projects ships less than 10 KB of CSS to the client. Are you tired of writing media queries? Tailwind lets you build responsive designs right inside of your HTML. It provides us some breakpoints to make their design responsive. You might be thinking that what about the states? Don't worry, Tailwind gives you almost every state you want to declare, like hover and focus. Are you repeating the same utilities over and over and over again? All you have to do is extract into a component or partial templates. Tailwind supports React, Angular, Vue, and Laravel. One of the coolest features in Tailwind CSS is its default dark mode system. Just add dark to the classes and it will apply the design only for the dark mode. Sometimes we have to repeat some utility classes many times. Tailwind gives us the freedom to customize those classes. Use Tailwind apply directive to extract repeated utility patterns into custom CSS classes just by copying and pasting the list of the class names. Also, you can add your preferred colored schemes to the config file so that you can use it on your HTML. Tailwind has got first-class CSS grid support, composable transforms, and gradients powered by CSS variable support for modern state selectors like focus, visible, etc. Tailwind has got almost all Ide integrations that gives you intelligent autocomplete suggestions, linting, class definitions, and more, all within your editor and with no configuration required. Now we will see how to install Tailwind CSS into our project. We have two different ways, CDN and via npm. To use the CDN, just go inside of the head tag of your HTML file and add the CDN script. You will find the installation link in the description below. Now I'm going to add h1 and hello world, and I'm going to add some CSS class name, Tailwind CSS class name, and just see the output. To install Tailwind CSS on your project, just go to your Visual Studio Code and open your terminal and use this command npm install -d Tailwind CSS. This command will install Tailwind CSS on the project and it will take some moment. Just wait and see. Now initialize Tailwind CSS by npx Tailwind CSS init. Now we have got a file called tailwind.config.js and open that file. In the content, just add an string to track all the files, all the HTML and JavaScript files from the root directory. Now go to the CSS directory I have created before and go to input.css and add these directives to start working with Tailwind CSS. Now use this command to start working with Tailwind CSS. I have changed the directory from source to CSS. This command will give you an output in the dist directory, and yeah, we have the output CSS file and we have to link that output CSS file to our HTML file and we are good to go. Now I'm going to add something to our body. It's a h1 and I will put some text inside of it and I will add a class of some CSS class names, Tailwind CSS class names. Text 8XL will give you a very big font, and text, they have some different colors. I'm choosing text green 500 and text center to make the text in the center of the screen. Now if you just see the output, you will see our Tailwind CSS is working perfectly into our project. From the next video, we will start learning Tailwind CSS by doing some challenges from frontendmentor.io.